So finally, business is turning around in Washington. We're very happy with the government bids that we're getting, and IBM's very happy. And I was offered the job of vice president of the Western Region, headquartered in Los Angeles, California. Now that's where I had started out some years earlier. And those 6 district managers that we talked about earlier would now be reporting to me, and I would have the responsibility for the Western 15 states. I accepted the job over the telephone and didn't ask Alice what she thought. And that was a mistake, because she really liked it in Washington and wasn't that anxious to get back to her old stamping ground. I thought she would be, but she wasn't. And so we did move. I was very happy. It was kind of a fairy tale thing. She and I had gotten married and left, and we now come back as the boss and his wife. And we bought a house in Hancock Park, which is not far from the office, just off Wilshire Boulevard. Her parents were there, her friends, and things worked out, even though I hadn't handled it as well as I should have. The Western 15 states meant an awful lot of travel, and I was gone a great deal. Charlie and Linda were enrolled in the Curtis School, private school that Alice and her brother had been to. And it was good to be with her parents and see them once again. At this point, Alice was thinking more and more that she wanted to be a doctor. And I would ask her why. Well, her mother and father were doctors. Her brother was going to be a doctor. Her uncle was a doctor. And I guess it's pretty logical. She'd want to be a doctor, though it seemed kind of inconvenient to me. But I got over that pretty fast. And so she started taking a few courses, and we were thinking about, how she would do it, and where, what maybe the best city would be, what med school she could get in, and we'll see how this evolved. While this is also going on, I had always collected beer steins. A girl brought me one from Germany one time and got me curious. And in LA, I kept adding to it. We started a national beer stein club, and it was all kind of exciting, but the house was full of them. And at one point, I was in New York on a business trip. This was in 1972. And there was an earthquake in LA. And I called LA as soon as I heard there'd been an earthquake. Talked to Alice and asked how everything was. Alice maintains that I ask about the beer steins before I ask about the children. Now, I don't think that's right, but anyway, that's what she has always maintained. One thing that occurred also while I was in the Western region, had the opportunity to appoint the first woman branch manager in IBM. There had been an opening, and Don Bickle, the district manager, said, why don't we put Ann McFarland in the Reno branch office? It covered the state of Nevada. It was growing fast. And I said, I think that's a great idea, and we did it. And she did a great job, and after that we appointed some more, and now there are probably more women branch managers in IBM than there are men branch managers, but I was always proud of that. But at a certain point, though, late in about 69, 71, there was a depression, a recession in the United States. And there was not only a recession, but there was a lot more competition, not in equipment, but from leasing companies, selling equipment and not leasing it. And there was also changes in policy. IBM was beginning to sell and not lease. And there was a business turndown. And believe me, managing in a business turndown is nothing like managing when business is normal or business is good. And this was a very, very challenging period. My peers were falling like flies, and we were able to survive because we identified our problems and had action plans. But those were very, very difficult periods. In 1973, I had been in the Western region for 5 years. They were very much anxious to give a young man named John Akers a chance to be regional manager, because their plans were for him to be chairman, as he did in later years. And I was moved back to Washington, which Alice was very pleased about.